The world is not driven by greed, it's driven by envy. So the fact that everybody's 5 times better off than they used to be, they take it for granted. All they think about is somebody else has having more now. And that's the reason that God came down and told Moses that you couldn't envy your neighbor's wife or even his donkey. I mean, even the old Jews were having trouble with envy. So it's built into the nature of things. I can't change the fact that a lot of people are very unhappy and feel very abused after everything's improved by about 600% because there's still somebody else who has more. I have conquered envy in my own life. I don't envy anybody. I don't give a damn what somebody else has. Think of the pretentious expenditures of the rich. Who in the hell needs a Rolex watch so you can get mugged for it? You know, I mean, yet everybody wants to have a pretentious expenditure, and that helps drive demand in our modern capitalist society. My advice to the young people is don't go there. The hell with the pretentious expenditure.
Charlie Munger is an American billionaire investor and the partner of Warren Buffett. He is a remarkably successful businessman and a former real estate attorney. He's also known for his wisdom and economic predictions, which are more than often proven to be right. Watch this video till the end so that you don't miss his intellectual thoughts and predictions.
The Chinese government is worrying all the capitalists in the world way more than it used to. And of course we don't like that. And we wish that China and the United States got along better. And if you stop to think about it, think of how massively stupid both China and the United States have been to allow the existing tensions to arise. What bad is ever going to happen to China or the United States if we two are close? If we make good friends out of the Chinese and vice versa, who in the hell is ever going to bother us? Of course we should make friends with China. And of course we should learn to get along with people who have a different system of government. We like our government because we're used to it and it has advantages of personal freedom. China could never have handled its life with a government like ours. They wouldn't be in the position they're in. They had to prevent 500 million or 600 million people from being born in China. They just measured the women's menstrual periods when they came to work and aborted those who weren't allowed to have children. You can't do that in the United States, and it really needed doing in China. And so they did what they had to do using their methods, and I don't think we should be criticizing China, which has terrible problems because they're not just like the United States. They do some things better than we do. They should like us and we should like them. So I think nothing is crazier than people who foment resentments on either side of that one. But China is a big modern nation. It's got this huge population and this huge modernity that's come in the last 30 years. And we invested some money in China because we could get more value in terms of the strength of the enterprise and the price of the security than we could get in the United States. Other people, including Sequoia, the leading venture capital firm in the United States, have made the same decision we have. But I'm sympathetic to Gunlock. If he's nervous, he doesn't have to join us. Different folks have different opinions. I feel about Russia the way he feels about China. I don't invest in Russia, so I can't criticize Gunlock's point of view. It's just I reached a different conclusion. Most of these things in the days when both parties have huge numbers of hydrogen bombs get resolved because the alternative is so awful that even an idiot can see that the question ought to be resolved. That's the way it's worked so far, and I hope it keeps working that way. We live in the Pax Nucleana. We've gotten an absence of world wars for a long time because we had these nuclear weapons. It's been a blessing to humanity, but it does make you nervous every once in a while, and it's quite irresponsible when the leaders in the modern age get over tensions over border incidents and so forth. Oh, huge. That's another thing that's coming. We have a new bunch of emperors, and they're the people who vote the shares in the index funds. Maybe we can make Larry Fink and the people at Vanguard Pope. And all of a sudden, we've had this enormous transfer of voting power to these passive index funds. That is going to change the world. And I don't know what the consequences are going to be, but I predict it will not be good. I think the world of Larry Fink, but I'm not sure I want him to be my emperor. Well, I'm glad to. What's interesting is that the courts of the world have been in the Stone Age, and there's no reason where lawyers should go down through heavy traffic and wait for some little motion. It should all be done on Zoom and so forth, and the filing should be done electronically. And so what there is a huge market for the automation of the courts, and it's early. That's the good news. It's a big market. And the bad news is it's a slow, damn tough way to grind ahead in software because it's very bureaucratic. RFP, government bodies, and it's a huge market, and it's intrinsically going to be very slow to get done. That's the good news and bad news. We have a huge market, and it's going to be slow and bureaucratic. Well, I certainly didn't invest in crypto. I'm proud of the fact I've avoided it. It's like, some venereal disease or something. I just regard it as beneath contempt. Some people think it's modernity, and they welcome a currency that's so useful in extortions and kidnappings and so on, tax evasion. And of course, the envy, everybody has to create his own new currency. And I think that's crazy, too. So I'm not having any. I wish it had been banned immediately, and I admire the Chinese for banning it. I think they were right, and we've been wrong to allow it. Well, certainly the great short squeeze in GameStop was wretched excess. Certainly the Bitcoin thing is wretched excess. I would argue that venture capital is throwing too much money too fast, and there's a considerable wretched excess in venture capital and other forms of private equity. And so we have a stock market which some people use like a gambling parlor. And the transactions of the people who love the gambling parlor aspect of the business and those who want to make long-term investments to take care of their old age and so forth. I mean, you muddle that in one market, and it goes out of control because the stock market becomes an ideal gambling parlor activity. I don't think that ought to have been allowed either. If I were the dictator of the world, I would have some kind of a tax on short-term gains that made the stock market very much less liquid and drove out this marriage of gambling parlor and legitimate capital development of the country. It's not a good marriage, and I think we need a divorce. It may be that you have to choose the least bad of a bunch of options. That frequently happens in human decision making. And the Mungers have Berkshire stock, Costco stock, Chinese stocks through Lilu, a little bit of Daily Journal stock, and a bunch of apartment houses. Do I think that's perfect? No. Do I think it's okay? Yes. I think the great lesson from the Mungers is you don't need all this damn diversification. That's plenty of. You're lucky if you've got 4 good assets. I think the finance professors and that sell the idea that perfect diversification is professional investment. If you're trying to do better than average, you're lucky if you have 4 things to buy. And to ask for 20 is really asking for egg in your beer. It's very few people have enough brains to get 20 good investments. I do think gaming is here to stay, but there again, I'm an old man. I don't like a bunch of addicted young males spending 40 hours a week playing games on the TV. Does not strike me as a good result for civilization. I don't like anything which is so addictive that you practically give up everything else to do it.
Thanks for watching the video till the end. If you are still with us, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below if you've learned something from Charlie.